My name is Elenoer Glasco. I am 66 years old. I was born in Panama City, Panama, the Republic of Panama. And I migrated to the United States in 1965 after I got married to an American citizen and moved to Chester County, Pennsylvania. As an 18-year-old coming to a new country with no family except my husband, it was very exciting because I'd heard so much of the United States and I couldn't wait to get here and start a new life with my husband. And then I came here and I realized that it was a little bit different from what I thought it would be in terms of the division of people. The people of color live in one neighborhood, the white lives in another neighborhood. There weren't that many Hispanic in Chester County at the time. And the ones that were here were all farm workers working in the southern end of the county in the mushroom industry for very little pay and not much benefits. So since my husband was a service person, he got a job as a postal worker at the Chester County Post Office, Westchester. And I was a homemaker. I had my first child, Keith Glasco, and I was in 1967. So I was at home, taking care of the child while my husband worked. It was very difficult because we didn't make a lot of money, but we were able to survive on the income that we were making. In approximately 1973, I got my first job in Chester County working as a translator for a social services agency. And my job was to help the migrant workers go to their, at that time, mobile home, get them immunized against diseases, talk to them about health issues, help them get with the agencies that provided shelter and food and other necessities that they would need. So that was my first introduction to social services work, community action, and community organizing. I worked with that organization for approximately 10 years, and I was one of a few people of color working in the social services agency in Chester County at that time. My experiences in living in a different country without having my parents here was very scary initially, because I had to learn everything on my own with the help of my husband. Eventually, though, I got to meet a lot of people of all races, and they were very helpful in helping me find housing and helping me to accelerate in my chosen profession at that time. And one of the more interesting aspects of that is that I would have to go down to the southern Chester County area to talk to the migrant farm workers, and everybody would be surprised that I was so fluent in Spanish, even though I was African looking, because a lot of people that worked in the mushroom area came at that time from Puerto Rico, and somehow they didn't realize that in different Hispanic countries like Panama, Costa Rica, there would be such an influx of African Latinas, which is what I am. And so that was a very surprising thing when I would speak to them in Spanish, everybody would be sort of in awe. In 1968, when Dr. Martin Luther King got assassinated, I believe I was at home when I first heard the news. And everybody in the household at the time, me, my husband, his mother, and his two sisters, we were devastated. Everybody started to cry, went out to the street to look for other people that had heard the news, and it was a somber evening. Everybody was so devastated. We could not believe that such a great person at the time, two African Americans, had been taken away from us. And for the next couple of days, it was very sorrowful, prayerful. We prayed and we marched and we held hands and sang songs of unity. that was blacks and whites alike in the community at that time were very sorrowful about the death of Dr. Martin Luther King. When President Obama was elected in 2008, that was one of the highlights of my life, because I never thought I would live to see the day that a person of color would have been elected president. Of course, everybody that I knew at that time that was either black or that was of color went out and voted. And that evening when they announced that he had won, even though we were not in Chicago looking at all the people in the park, we were in Chester County. It just such a joy. It was just such a joyful occasion. It was like a new era had come, and that we were going to be liberated from some of the prejudices of this country. Of course, it wasn't only African Americans and Latin and Asian people that voted for the president. There were all kinds of people of all ages that believed that the time had come that we should vote for someone that we thought would lead this country in a very thoughtful and caring way. And so I was joyful in my heart knowing that my children and my grandchildren would aspire to higher offices after having seen the president being elected. Of course, the election of 2012 validated his election in 2008. Now we know that anything is possible in this country as far as African Americans, Latinos, and Asian people. All people can aspire to higher, can have high aspiration, can want colleges and study hard and know that they also can be president of these United States.